Okay, inshallah, I can get started. Just put in the chat box if my voice is clear, everybody can hear me and see my screen. Okay, all good. Jazakallah khair, Brother Sharif. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we can get started now. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him and seek His help and forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from our soul's evil and our wrongdoings. He whom Allah guide, no one can misguide, and he whom Allah misguides, no one can guide. I bear witness that there is no God except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone without any partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his abd and final messenger. I welcome you all to the launch of America's first ever Startup Council. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for joining in today. Inshallah, let's get started with some introductions here. I want to first introduce you all to the founding members and the founding team or the core team of this platform, the whole organization. So I have brothers, the ALMPG team and the founding member teams. If you guys can help people who cannot hear us, please take care of them. Jazakallah khair. Okay. Brother Adnan Siddiquie, I'm going to give a small introduction of all the founding members so that you guys are aware who we are and what's going on and who are the people behind working on this concept, on this organization, inshallah. Brother Adnan has worked at HP and Amazon at senior leadership position for almost last 20 years. He holds a Master's of Science in CAD and CAM and an MBA from Oklahoma State University. He is currently involved with 4 different startups operating from Seattle, Washington. He has lived in Taiwan, Shanghai, China before moving to Seattle. He is actively involved in social work in Seattle and the founder of RAST Foundation in Pakistan, with the vision of eradicating illiteracy and from the underdeveloped countries. Which is the kind of a vision of RAST. His philosophy of life is pretty simple, as he says, a good life is lived with passion and guided by knowledge, by Russells, and always do the right thing. And next we have Sister Hajara, who is also a part of the founding team. She is a global investor, technologist, board director, and a businesswoman. She is also the chairwoman and CEO of Al-Amudi Avenues, a real estate and investment company with the presence in North America and in India. Sister Hajara is an international board director with real estate, e-commerce, and tech companies in India, USA, and Africa. She is also the chairwoman of 2020 Women on Board campaign and collaborates with 30% Club in the UAE. She also is a brand ambassador of New Dan Brands, a private organization in London, UK, which is working on educating and increasing accountability of non-executive directors on board across Europe. She has published, and she's an author and a speaker who contributes regularly to international magazine and gives presentation to at university and at business technology conferences. And then we have Brother Ilyas Muhammad. Alhamdulillah, he is the founder of ALMPG and co-founder of Startup Council. He is kind of the backbone for setting things up for ALMPG as well as for helping found this council. And he is an IT professional currently. He holds a master's degree in software engineering and has over 9+ years of experience in business intelligence. He's a social entrepreneur. And what else I can say about him? There is a lot to say about him. So alhamdulillah, he's kind of the backbone for both the organizations. Next we have Brother Riaz Muhammad. He's the co-founder of ALMPG. He currently works in Ohio for a financial company, and he's an entrepreneur himself and businessman. And then we have Sister Halima. She is, she also MBA in Management Information System. She has extensive knowledge in web development, and currently she is volunteering as a social media strategist for ALMPG and Startup Council. And she is fond of helping people out, and she wants to do and give back to this community. So that's why she is with us, and alhamdulillah, she's working hard on giving people, getting people know about these platforms on social media. And finally, that's me, Dawood Ahmed. I am one of the co-founder of ALMPG and founding team member for Startup Council. I'm a social entrepreneur myself, and I love to speak and mentor people. So you can say I'm a public speaker as well. So Jazakumullah khair, everybody, for joining in. I'm very happy that you all joined in. We have a lot more coming in. We thought that, let's give the introduction of the founding team so that you guys are aware, who stands behind this platform and what is going on. So let's get to the bottom of it. So the whole team comprises of, entrepreneurs who themselves has gone through the struggle of opening or founding a startup, and business professionals who have knowledge, extensive experience in working with startups, and technologists, mentors, and CEOs and presidents of companies. So alhamdulillah, with this team, we founded Startup Council, and we have a lot more volunteers coming up. Stay tuned, inshallah. We'll talk about them, inshallah, in the coming slides. And let's talk about the problem. Okay, we are in the United States, and currently in United States, we have a problem. What is the problem? So let me share the problem with you. Current success rate of startup is 10 to 12% in the U.S., so which is not so good, Okay, so almost 90% of the startup founded in U.S. fail in the first 6 months or first 3 months. There are a lot of reasons. But major reasons are that, they have no structured networking platform for business and investors and professionals, especially for Muslim entrepreneurs or Muslim startups. And there is no support system, right, for startups and entrepreneurs. And then another thing is that, the Muslim minority startup incubator in the U.S. are none. We do not have any startup incubators in the U.S. supporting Muslim minorities, none whatsoever. So with this thought, we said there is a need of a platform, an organization where the Muslim minorities can be helped as much as possible to support their startup dreams, inshallah. We'll talk about that later. But, great innovation. We have gems in our community, and great innovation and idea from the community don't come to fruition due to the lack of support from the community. So inshallah, I want to now introduce you to Brother Nader. He himself is an entrepreneur, and he will inshallah share with us some of his past experience about starting up businesses, and how he feels, and he will give us some tips and tricks and how to be successful, inshallah. So I'm going to pass the ball to Brother Nader. Brother Nader, I'm going to unmute you, and inshallah you can speak.
Barakallah.
Okay. Go ahead, Brother Nader. You are on. I'm going to move to next page, and inshallah you are on. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nader Al-Wassam, and I am one of the members of the Entrepreneur Vertical. What I wanted to do is just to take a few moments and share with you my experience in starting a technology company, specifically in the healthcare space, and walk you through some of my key learnings during that journey, as well as provide some of the thoughts on starting a company. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So so just to share with you, in the interest of not ensure that this does not turn into a pitch of the company, I will just briefly touch on what the company was, what its vision was, and how we achieved it. Essentially, we were trying to organize the world's cancer data and make it accessible to every oncologist and pharmaceutical company around the world. And so fundamentally, the problem that we were tackling was that oncologists are overwhelmed with the massive pace of scientific discovery, specifically in the precision medicine area. And to put this into perspective a little bit, there are over 10,000 research papers released each month around oncology research. And so as a result, many oncologists are basing their clinical decisions on data that is years out of date. In fact, even at the level of a tumor board, which is comprised of a cross-disciplinary set of experts, they face this exact same problem. So whether you're at the top institutions and the top medical academic centers like NYU, Memorial Sloan Kettering, down to your community hospitals, it's the very same situation, and that's a problem. And so the way we address this is through a CDSS, or which is a clinical decision support system in the medical world, is what it's called. And essentially, what we were doing was that this solution would use AI and neural networks to effectively read a patient's electronic medical record, particularly their tumor's mutation profile, and then generate a set of recommended therapies with the highest probability of success. So that's a little bit of background of the company. And so what did I learn from this? What are my top 3 learnings that I can share with everyone here? And firstly, and probably most importantly, purpose. This is extremely important, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Building a company is far from glamorous, despite what the media would portray. Many people will tell you it won't work. You will hear countless no's, more no's than yeses, and you will be surrounded with constant failures. In fact, over 80% of the startup ideas come from personal experience, and so personal experience, identifying the problem firsthand and witnessing and seeing it firsthand is really pivotal. And so, and this was no different in my case. I witnessed firsthand some of my closest relatives and their spouses battle a horrific disease. And as a result, I was immersed in their battle from their diagnosis, the start of their diagnosis, to their treatment strategy and multiple failed therapies. When you hearing people very close to you throwing up every 15 minutes, it makes a very lasting impression on you. I can tell you that for sure. When you hear about one of your relative spouses being paralyzed from the neck down due to breast cancer, stage 4 aggressive breast cancer, it also makes a very lasting impression on you. And so these deep flaws and these troubling situations really made a mark on me, and to a degree that therefore the company was born. So I really encourage that everyone to find their purpose and make it a goal of your company and of your objective and your mission to solve that problem. Healthcare is extremely change and risk averse. We're dealing with obviously people's lives, so it's imperative that validation of the product, of the technology, is done. Now this varies, between if it's FDA clearance is required, and certain specific, depending on the product, of course, if it's a drug, if it's pharmaceutical, then that's a whole different, entails a whole different set of imperatives. But, this is not a food delivery startup or the next Facebook. We're dealing with people's lives, so product validation in the clinical setting is extremely important. It's essential. The level of validation, as I mentioned, and type will vary, but this is absolutely necessary if any traction or any investor money or any sort of adoption is to occur. And hospitals and health systems and physicians have to deal with extensive regulatory burden, as we know. Therefore, anything that would put patients at risk will be scrutinized at all angles. Be ready for it, plan for it, and have extensive data to add credibility to the product. And finally, it's very costly. You're talking about extremely long sales life cycles. You're talking about obviously data gathering and potentially clinical trials that are involved, which can run in the millions of dollars per trial, FDA approvals, and so this compounded alone can put a company out of business before any traction or any adoption is achieved. And so that needs to be known and understood, and taking the lessons from other companies who have attempted this in the space and their learnings, just like ours, will be very helpful. So with that, what are my top recommendations for starting a company? And I would say, I alluded to in the first learning, which ties into the first, is find your purpose. This is the only way, frankly, that I was able to push through the repeated failures and the negativity, was to really focus mentally on what I was trying to do, the outcomes that I was trying to achieve, and why I was doing what I was doing. This really fueled every action and created the relentless drive that is needed to start a company and build a company from the ground up. I want to enforce that it should never be about personal gain, personal monetary achievement, or personal status. It should always be about the other person and people in general, helping people make a better life, making the world a better place effectively. That, if you look at just sort of the statistics, it's usually that's what happens in successful companies, is that if people make it above themselves. Elon Musk is a great example of that. He started from the beginning that it was never about money, and you can see where he is today. And so that is something that I would highly, highly recommend, is always find that burning passion, that burning desire that motivates you, that fuels you to fight all the negativity and fight all the no's and persevere. Extremely important. And so secondly, PMF. What is PMF? It's what we call in the startup world product market fit. This is imperative. It's extremely important. And a lot of people argue that this is one of the top reasons why startups fail, in addition to a lack of a platform for mentoring. And, is it the team? Is it the product? But if you talk to a lot of VCs, they would argue that the number one reason is lack of product market fit. Meaning, more specifically, to define this a little bit, is there is no market for what you are offering. Either A, the problem is not significant enough to warrant any change in people changing what they're doing, or your product does not deliver enough value to warrant that change. So it's really, really critical to ensure that when you're building a product, when you're building a company, product market fit is achieved, meaning that your consumers, your target audience, your target market is effectively pulling this product out of your hands in a fashion that you're unable even to keep up. Now that is a sign of product market fit. That is a clear signal of product market fit. Secondly, you really want to make sure that the product achieves a 10x improvement compared to current approaches used by the market. Now, some startup companies would say, well, we have no competition. We're completely unique in this situation. That is not true by any means. Even if they believe that there's no competition, there is always competition. Competition could be the exact solution that people are using today to fulfill their needs. In the case of Uber, for example, it could be the taxi service, right? In our case, it would have been doctors going through medical textbooks or going online through various websites and searching for specific drugs based on various tumors mutations profile, very expensive and painstaking ordeal. So in every case, there's always going to be competition. And I would always argue and emphasize that 2 or 3x improvement would not justify the change and switching costs. It has to be a 10x improvement. In our case, it was the patient outcomes as well as the percentage of oncologists that changed their decision based on recommendations. So always have metrics to show how you are better and to validate how you are better, why you're better. Know your competition and intimately, obviously, as I mentioned, your target market, who are you solving the problem for, what is their problem, and how much better are you solving the problem given current solutions? Get here ASAP. This is essential. I think one of the things that we could have done better is that we could have focused on this from day one and built the product from day one, and that would have helped basically allow us to get to a quicker ramp up, a quicker adoption cycle, and a quicker investment cycle as well. So this is number two, extremely important. And however, there are two exceptions to this rule that I want to talk about briefly. Is that what about a situation when a product achieves PMF, but when they try to scale, it fails and the company fails? What happens there? So in one market, you meet their needs, but as you scale to different markets with different demographics and needs, the product fails. And one example of this is, let's say you're targeting the market of Beverly Hills consumers, and your company takes off and you achieve product market fit. However, as you scale and you have investment, as you scale to the rest of the country, for example, the Midwest, the product doesn't seem to gain any traction. Why is that? And so the problem is that you're dealing with completely two different demographics, completely two different markets, different needs, different profiles, that the product just doesn't meet the need of that market. So the other one is around competition. So you can have product market fit, but if the competition is extremely high, then the company has a highly likelihood of failure too. Now, that doesn't mean that if there's lots of competition, you should not start the company by any means, but always know the risks and what your competition is doing. Don't focus on it extensively, but always know who you're up against. Finally, bootstrap for as long as you can. Taking VC money is not always the best approach for a startup, just specific to timing and dilution and infancy of the company. Organic growth leads to leverage. You'll have high leverage, and if you compound that year over year of revenue and profits, VCs will be knocking on your doors. And that's really what you want. You want the leverage, you want to set your terms. A great example of this is Qualtrics. They were a data analytics company, and they were based out of Utah. They had never taken VC money until about a few years ago. And they were in business for about 10 or 11 years, a few $100 million in revenue, and they did it completely organically. Started in the basement of their home, and built it to a multi-million-dollar company, and that was all organically. And VCs were essentially just banging on their doors to get in and invest in their company. Ideally, that's what you want. You want to be in a position to set the terms and to grow organically and set your direction and set your path. VCs are all about growth, so it's like rocket fuel for your company. So if you might not be in a situation to grow, it might be premature. Something to keep in mind. And with that, I will hand it over back to Dawood.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Nader. Thank you for sharing your experience. Can you give me a 30-second pitch that how important it is to have some support or guidance when you're forming when you're on a path to become an entrepreneur and you're opening up a company? Just a 30-second pitch. What would you suggest that such an organization like Startup Council can be helpful?
Most certainly, most certainly. In fact, if I kind of reflect on our situation, starting out, we didn't have the necessary advisors. We didn't have the necessary scientific advisors from a genomic and oncologist perspective early enough. We did that a little bit later, and so if we had the necessary oncologists, if we had the necessary genomic people with that expertise, they could have made the introductions for us. They could have stress tested our offering and our product and really identify the gaps, identify the weaknesses at a much earlier stage of the company. Now that would have given us a much better situation from an investment perspective as well as from an adoption perspective. So, in hindsight, I think that would have been essential for us. It would have been extremely helpful. And finding those people is very difficult as well, right? I mean, depending on your market, depending on your product, depending on your situation, tapping into a network of people with that expertise is just not exactly easy, unless you have connections already, unless you have family members. So most certainly something like Startup Council would have been extremely helpful for us.
Jazakallah khair, Jazakallah khair. Okay, inshallah. Thank you so much for your time, and your knowledge for sharing with us. And inshallah, now I would like to call upon Sister Hajira. Inshallah, she will talk a little bit more about Startup Council, the aim of Startup Council, and how, and she will also, inshallah, try to share her experience with us. Sister Hajira, you are on. I have unmuted you. Please go ahead. You can speak now.
Thank you, Brother Dawood. Assalamu alaikum all. Thank you all for joining us today. It's a big day, I think, not just for us at the Startup Council, but I think for the Muslim community as well. So let me begin talking about my experience, just to give you an idea of, what expertise I bring to Startup Council. So I am a two-time founder myself. Before diving into the investment world, I worked in technology for quite some time in the project management area, leading various ERP types of projects, business development tasks, portfolio management with budgets of, budgets worth about a couple $1 million, 20 million and upwards. I was a founder and CEO of Wadi Corporation. It was an IT service company which I started from scratch, and I was able to grow to a point where the business was generating a multi-million-dollar revenue. And I think, but investment was always kind of like a passion for me, so I say that I've always been an investor, but really during the 2008 recession, at that time, I took that turn, that 360-degree turn, and it kind of, went completely into the investment profession. I am now the founder and CEO of ALMPG Avenues. So what it does is, it does a lot of real estate investment and development projects in India and here as well. And thank you, Brother Nader, for sharing your insight and your valuable opinions and lessons learned. And I completely agree with you when you say that, when you start a business, when somebody starts a business, the right approach is to not do it to make a whole lot of money. You don't want to go into that direction. You don't want to start a company based on that formula. Always try to solve a problem for the society. That should be your angle or your vision. Come up with an idea or a product that will address a gap in the society, in the market. Solve a problem, and when you have the right solution for a problem, people would want to buy that solution, and the money follows. And I highly recommend or encourage the entrepreneurs, just like Brother Nader said, to bootstrap for as long as you possibly can. Don't start looking for these investors the moment you have an idea. And I can tell you this from my experience, people with just the idea or ideas or concepts do not get the best investment money compared to someone who has more proof of a successful launch and maybe some revenue as well. And think about this for a minute. The more investment money you look for, the more equity you will have to give up. The money doesn't come for free, right? So bootstrap for as long as you possibly can, and then focus on testing small, or rather saying, I should be saying, taking baby steps initially. Don't go for that big entry into the markets because when you start small and take those baby steps and test your products based on different markets, that will help you stay in more control and manage your risk, mitigate those risks. But sometimes down the line, as you grow, or you will need to sell that equity for that money should the need arise. But when you are scaling and learning and growing, at that point, when you start looking for investors, you do not want that investment money, not just the investment buddy. You want investment partners. You want somebody who can help you grow, offer expertise, maybe open up new markets for you, sources of new revenue. maybe somebody who can help you with your supply chain, with cutting down costs and increasing your margins, things of that sort. So those are the kind of investors you as an entrepreneur will need for your startup. And for reasons like these, and many others, you would need somebody like the Startup Council. So we are a board of selected individuals that were invited for their expertise in relation to various aspects of a business, of running a business. We have former, current entrepreneurs on board, investors, technical experts here, people who have that experience with running, growing, managing startups. And, running and managing and even growing startups is quite different from managing a much mature company, a company which is more stable. So it's quite a different experience, learning experience. When Brother Ilyas, who's the founder of ALMPG Group, he approached me to join the Startup Council, I jumped on because I thought it's an opportunity of a lifetime because I see this as an opportunity, a unique opportunity to develop, grow, and invest in the Muslim minority entrepreneur population in the United States. From my experience investing in other companies, or when I talk to these other entrepreneurs and investors of various forms, I know of these many incubators, venture capital funds, private equities, who exist to help and grow a specific part of a society. You will now find funds that are available and which are just focused on the women-oriented businesses, or are just focused on Black-owned businesses, Latino-owned businesses, and startups. And it is so wonderful to have these available because, these are all parts of the society which have been neglected. They weren't given that fair chance. And so these kind of very specific funds that have started, who are helping these communities, really helps develop the society as a whole. But we do not have a Muslim-focused startup incubator so far, and I think that's what the ALMPG Startup Council, the Startup Council, is trying to do, which is. And I think it's important because, the Muslim community is just another part of the society which deserves the same kind of help. We have these educated professionals, experienced SMEs, subject matter experts of various kinds, but really there is no formal structure in place that can understand the unique challenges that exist in this part of the community and can help them by developing that framework of expertise which can grow a startup in the right way. So help it scale, which is very challenging for any company, for any startup. Scaling is always a challenge for a new business. So somebody who's available to kind of help identify, strategies and weaknesses and provide the right kind of help, not just any help, but, the right kind of help that is needed for that particular entrepreneur, for that particular startup to grow in the right way, to be successful. And so that is what the Startup Council is all about. The Startup Council is basically an ecosystem. It hopes to provide an ecosystem to help the entrepreneurs really, work on their startups, work on those ideas, grow them, and provide the Startup Council to provide that right kind of support for to these entrepreneurs. So speaking about, objectives of the Startup Council, just like I talked about, becoming that ecosystem for the entrepreneurs to take that first step, we want to be there when you have somebody out there who has that idea, but really, who has that potential solution maybe to a problem in the community, in the society. We want to be there as a help to those folks, who have that idea, but just really don't know how to take the next step. How do you start? Where do you start? What do you do? So having somebody like the Startup Council by their side would be a huge benefit to these folks. Just with the entire idea validation process. Does it make sense? What market is it addressing? Does it have a long life? Do you think it can grow? Things of that sort. This is where the Startup Council comes into picture. So, really providing the right help, the right guidance, the right advice that each individual and unique startup would need, entrepreneur would need. And that's the whole objective of starting this council here. And along the way, of course, there are multiple benefits that can be coming out of doing this. And some of them that we recognize here at the council are, just we will be able to create that network to bring together all these various entrepreneurs, other startup owners, the right knowledgeable people that are easily available to these young companies with limited sources, limited source of funding, things of that sort. But if they have that access, that help available to them in the right way at the right time, it can make a world of difference to these businesses. So we hope to be able to provide that benefit to many of these entrepreneurs and the startups from the Muslim community. And then along the way, when you do this, when you are, helping these startups grow and establish and, become larger and stronger and more stable, you are creating all kinds of employment opportunities for the rest of the society. So that's a big plus, and that's something, we hope to take pride in down the line as things move along. So really, Startup Council is just that. It hopes to provide that support, become that framework, provide that structure to how you can go about from the stage of an idea, from that stage to all the way to really, have a stable business, where it's earning a stable revenue source of income, and really becoming that point or that place in a society from where other people can start to take benefit. So inshallah, that's what we hope to do with the Startup Council. Of course, you need to be a part of this to make this work. There's just a few of us right now, but we definitely need more help and more people to join this effort, people who can offer their skills and their service, their money for these entrepreneurs and startups. So that brings, I think, to the end of all that I could have shared with you all. Thank you all for, joining us again. And Brother Dawood, please, you can take back the ball.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Hajira, for sharing your experience and talking more about Startup Council. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, now I would like to call upon Brother Adnan Siddiquie. He is one of the main part of Startup Council. Just before I invite him to speak, I want to just hear something, the idea, the whole concept about Startup Council. Before I invite him, I want to say this, ALMPG, we are a, job portal helping Muslims find job opportunities. So we had an event in Washington, Seattle. So I was there, kind of, Muslim networking event was conducted there. So I went there, I was speaking there, and alhamdulillah, I got to know about Brother Adnan and his idea. And I brought that idea up, and he was, alhamdulillah, he said, he specifically said, that my speaking, what I spoke there motivated him for this idea, and alhamdulillah, he wanted to proceed. So he got back to the ALMPG team, and we love the idea that, why not? There is no platform whatsoever in the U.S. right now who is helping Muslims with their startup dreams. We have a lot of organization in other communities, but not for Muslim community. So alhamdulillah, we kick-started from there. So the whole idea was seeded by Brother Adnan. So alhamdulillah, so now you got the idea that, who is this person. So inshallah, Brother Adnan, now I would like to invite you. I'm going to unmute you. So inshallah, then you could talk more about the support system and how the whole thing's gonna work. So Brother Adnan, I'm gonna unmute you. Okay. Oh yeah, you are already unmuted. Please go ahead. You can speak.
Great. Thank you very much, Brother Dawood. And, so my journey started from 9/11, and when that happened, I was in Midwest at the time, and people were my friends. Most of those are staunch Trump supporters now. Most of those looked at me and say, "These are your people. What are you doing to bring the change?" So from that beginning and with that objective, how I'm going to influence the community to be different than what we are today. First thing I did was I started Rast Foundation in Pakistan to help the education system. We have been running that organization for a few years now. We provide free training to teachers to become better teachers, hoping that will influence the education system. And then later on, fast forwarding the clock, when I came to Seattle, this is an area where most people are constantly talking about startups, and they have great ideas how they will change the world. And in most of those community sessions, when I talked with people, especially the young people, they had great ideas, but when I asked them why they're not moving forward with those, it turned out that they had certain blockages, and the entry barrier is high. And at the same time, I had left Amazon to start my own companies. I'm right now currently engaged in about 4 different startups at different stages. And I could understand why they were feeling the way they were feeling, and not taking the first step, the young people, those who wanted to start their companies. So that's when this whole thing came about. And I said, okay, if we provide an infrastructure for entrepreneurs to step forward, and currently the vision that we have, or at least that I have, is it should be a zero entry barrier for the entrepreneur. All you need to do is come up with a great idea. And as the Brother Nader said earlier, right, very, very correctly, you should be passionate about it. It should be for the right reasons. And if you identify an opportunity in the community, in the social structure, or in the business community that can be solved, and the technology is there, then there is no reason for the startup to fail. When I studied it, why startups were not successful, most of the reasons were the identification of the market was not correct, the current resources were not available, they were not able to get the financing at the right time, and actually on top of that, very difficult for the entrepreneurs to wear all these hats at the same time. Most of the entrepreneurs think that they know it all, but they do need help. It's very lonely up there. So we provide that infrastructure, and I thought if we overcome those obstacles, we will have more entrepreneurs and we'll have more successes. So that was just a background. That's why we got started. With that said, we came up with this, as a team, we came up with this infrastructure. We are coming up with the organization that's going to gravitate towards the entrepreneur. Can we complete the slide, Brother Dawood? So the whole organization is, we are coming up, it'll gravitate towards the entrepreneurs, but we have decided to come up with 5 verticals. Verticals are going to be the skilled professionals. These are the professionals, you are a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, coder, you're an accountant, whatever skill that you have, that's one vertical. Then in order to run the business or the startup, you will need partnership from business partners, the legal services, marketing, software development, manufacturing, printing, and several of those services. And as I said earlier, the other one is the mentor. For most of the entrepreneurs, they don't seem to get the guidance at the right time. Either they work with people, those who are working under them, or they're too far that they cannot trust and have an honest conversation with them. So it's very important for entrepreneurs to identify mentors for the program. And we will decide that in certain cases it'll be just one mentor for a particular project, or in certain cases we may have 2 or 3 mentors for different specific fields. I think that will be the key. I am involved right now with the projects. In certain projects I came in early, and certain projects I came in late, and I wish I had those projects that I came in late. They had mentors earlier on to help them at least point out the things that they're about to face before they get there. And then instead of scrambling, they would have a plan for those. So that was missing. The other part, a lot of people think is the investors, is the money is the key. I would say money is the key, but not really that important. If you have all the other things, Brother Nader mentioned that earlier. If you can bring the right product at the right time, people will be knocking on your door to give you the money. Money is not going to be a problem. But our vision is that we will have enough investors from the community that they will be angel investors, and when we get to the next point, we will build enough credibility that once we take our project, our being the Startup Council's project, to the VCs, you will be subjected to lesser of an scrutiny and easier to get the funding. And in parallel, we also have the last one for the partner organizations. These partner organizations, the objective is anybody who is in the same space trying to help the community, our doors are open. Please come and join us. I am on the extreme part of that. If somebody is doing a much better job in the same space than we are, we will be more than happy to merge with them and let them absorb us. So the whole idea is that all the communities, all the partners, there are several companies working in that space, or different non-profit organizations. We should join hands with them and support each other. So that said, I'm going to walk you through with each vertical that we have, the skilled professionals, business partners, mentors, investors, and how those are structured and what the expectations are. Sorry, brother, we can go to the next one now, if you like. So let's start with the entrepreneurs. I think, as I said earlier, we will gravitate towards entrepreneurs. But that said, that doesn't mean that any other vertical that we identified is of lesser significance. We need everything possible to all the support from every group to make us successful. But just the nature of this, since it's a startup, entrepreneur plays the key role. So we would like them to be the center of the focus. What is in it for them? They will get the support, they will get the resources, they will get the guidance, financing at the right time, and there's a community behind them to helping them on. We will also identify, we've been around the block, so if somebody comes up for the first time, we will identify what their weaknesses and opportunities are, their strengths and their opportunities, and we will help them enhance their skills, learn those skills. I don't know if you mentioned that earlier on, that the Startup Council is also be conducting webinars off and on to help the entrepreneurs in different skills, along with the ALMPG to hone your skills in different areas. Most of the companies similar to ours, organizations similar to ours, what they do is they do the competitions, and at the end of the competition, whoever wins the competition, they give them $10,000, $15,000 and leave them, say, go, make it happen. Our vision is a little different. So we may not give $10,000, $15,000, and I'm not a big fan of these competitions. I think every idea is a great idea, should be evaluated based on its merit, and then we walk you through the journey from the beginning till you hit the success. And so that's why we will make sure that we have people, we stay engaged with you and walk you through the whole process. You'll be connected with the entrepreneurs, mentors, business partners, investors, and everybody else. The way it's going to work is, as Brother Nader kind of alluded a little bit, that when you come up with an idea, it should be market. There's a need for that idea. The problem exists. So our first step is going to be that we validate your idea. Make sure it's a valid idea. It solves a real problem. The second step for us is going to be, we will see if there's a technology behind it to solve that problem. The leap, the 10x that Brother Nader mentioned, does it exist with the technology? Once those two pieces are in place, the market segment and the technology, and then we will look at the team, the gentleman or the person who came up with the idea, he or she. We will evaluate them, what resources they have, what the skills they have, what are the gaps, because the gaps may change with as the project moves forward. So we'll perform a SWOT analysis and give them the feedback, and wherever the gaps are, we'll try to find resources. ALMPG has access to about 10,000 professionals, and there are other similar organizations. We have talked with them, and if we combine all of the other resources, we have access to about 15 to 20,000 resources that we can tap into. So there is no reason for any lack of resources for any specific area. So once we do that, connect the team with the correct resources, and just support the team through the development process. And I'm very bullish about this thing. Once we do all this, the success rate is going to be significantly higher what the country is seeing right now. And so after entrepreneurs, so as I have mentioned this before, in this slide, if you complete the slides, you will see the whole thing is gravitating towards the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneur is the key kingpin of this whole initiative. But at the same time, every piece in this thing is as important as the other. No one is insignificant. Everybody has to play their part at the right time with the right energy and right resources, and that's what's going to make it happen. It's hardly ever one person who can make things. It's always the team and the system that makes it happen. And so our objective is to build a system, build an organization that can work on its own. So for this vertical, so each vertical will have a team to support that vertical. So this particular vertical for entrepreneurs, Brother Dawood, Fahad Ansari, and Nader are the ones who are leading the charge. They are the ones, they will be collecting the ideas, collecting the names, doing the first part of due diligence, and then bringing it to the council for the next step, and they will be our there's a question on the message that what is a vertical. So, Brother Dawood, can we go back one page, a couple of pages? I'm sorry, where we have the structure. One more, right there. So these the skilled professionals, business partners, mentors, investors, and partner organizations. We are referring to these as verticals. Each one of the vertical will be managed by a small team to provide support to the entrepreneur. And I should have been more explicit about that in the beginning. So now we are talking about, we discussed the entrepreneurs up, and so that particular vertical, which is for the entrepreneurs, is being managed by Brother Dawood and Brother Fahad. And Brother Nader. So these are very experienced people. They have been around the block a few times. They have, and a good part is all three of them are very passionate about what they do and for the right reasons. So I'm very thankful for them to joining the team and supporting this effort. But that said, we are also looking for more people to join in and help them. If you have time, if you are passionate about it, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can use few good men or women for that matter. The next slide, please. The next vertical is the skilled professionals. So anyone in the community who is a skilled professional can join us, and we would like to have their skill sets available. This is an opportunity for professionals to hone in their skills. I can cite you my example. From the very beginning, I always wanted to start my own company or do something different. But because the limited resources and not having the support system, I was not able to do that for 30 years. So it took me a long time. I don't want the young people to wait that long. Now we have an opportunity while most of us get the first job that we get and we hang on to it, and that may or may not be our passion. This gives you an opportunity to look at this, the technology that you want to work in, the type of area that you want to work in. You can pick and choose and join the startup in that specific area. So it'll help you get exposed to the latest and the greatest technologies. Once you get there, this will help you with the cutting edge technology, honing your skills. It will also help you with your softer skill and being part of the network. It'll definitely help. And one of the key things that we all have to do, which I have not done a whole lot in my career, was networking. And this is an excellent area we can build a network. If while you're doing that, if you come up with an idea, you jump from the skilled professionals to an entrepreneur and start your own thing. But at the same time, this is something while you're building your professional skills, you can also make some extra money or build an equity in a startup. And it makes you feel good to become something that be a part of something that is going to grow significantly, and you can be proud of doing something great. Next step. Next slide. So this vertical is being managed by Brother Fawad Riaz, and we have still a few open spots for the volunteers to jump in and help us. Our vision is that we will have anywhere from 3 to 5 people in each vertical managing that vertical. And so if you see any of these verticals that you think this is where you want to be, you want to help us, please feel free to reach out. It'll be a pleasure to have you on board. The next one. So in order to run the businesses, in order to run a startup, we also need help from supporting businesses. We need marketing help. We need some manufacturing. We need some legal help to set up the corporation. We need to manage our accounts. And I can tell you with my experience, most of the technologists, those who come up with these great ideas and bootstrap the company, these are the skills that they lack. And quite a few of them don't even acknowledge that this is the area they lack and they need help. So being a mentor a mentor can help them identify those opportunities, and we will have resources. The companies those who have registered with us, we maintain the relationship with them, and we can introduce them to the right company which fits their profile, and that'll be helpful for the entrepreneur. But at the same time, businesses have an advantage. They will get access to the community. They are they're supporting the community. They will get free marketing out of this thing. And as the company grow, if they come in at the startup, then they can grow with the company. My vision is that most of these startups, it'll start very, very low, but the growth is going to be exponential. With that, these businesses can go with them to different heights that they have never seen before. So these are the opportunities for the businesses. And of course, these business partners, we have talked about this, that they have come from the industry. They are on the ground. They know what the reality is on the ground. They can be very helpful and become mentors and partners for us, for the startups. And this vertical is being managed right now by Brother Faisal, Arif Yassin, and of course we still have some few open spots for the volunteers to join. If you care to join us, that'll be great. The next one is the mentors vertical. This is an untapped market, if I may use the word. I am on the West Coast, in California, Washington, and in that area. There are a lot of people at an early stages. They have accomplished quite a bit, and they are kind of doing things on their own, but there is really no structured platform that they can do systematically. If we reach out to them and ask them to come and help as mentor, most of them will be more than happy to do that. This way, they will stay connected with the community. They will also stay connected with the technology, what is happening in the world, what the trends are, the mega trends are, and what technologies are coming in to solve the trends. They can be more influential in society, and I think and being a mentor, it's very, very satisfactory. And most of the people that I have talked with so far, these people are very successful, and they're obviously, for good reasons, they're very busy. So they're not committing right now that they will join for us as volunteers, but they are very waiting for us to go to them with project proposals. And they're almost chomping on the bit to hear about it. They're very excited. Most of those are very excited to hear about the projects. So as soon as the projects will come, we will introduce them, and they will join us, join the companies to mentor those young people. So at this point of time in this space, I am the only one who is the member of this vertical, and there are other people that we have in line. But if you have an interest, please reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to entertain you. The next vertical is for the investors. So the one thing is that most of the people that I hang out with here in the Seattle area, quite a few of them have concerns about investing someplace where they have interest in the banking or some other loan type thing. They don't want to invest in those, and they don't want to get profit out of that. This is a very good opportunity for the investors to do that. Obviously, as I said, at least on the West Coast, I'm fully aware there are lots of people with lots of additional resources that they have. They can help young people to get started with the angel funding, and that should not be a problem. I think there's a lot of people who can do that. We will go to them with the companies that we have already scrutinized, and once we have done the scrutiny, it's lesser of a risk for the investor to invest in the company if it's endorsed by us. So they know that we have done the due diligence with all the factors. They have identified a real problem. They have the technology, evaluated the technology. The gap is not, idealistic. It's more realistic gap that can be bridged rather quickly. And then the team that is working on it is solid, and there is no gaps in it. So this vertical investors vertical is being led right now by Sister Hajra. You have heard from her. She's very passionate about it. Brother Muhammad, and we are also looking for more people to help us in that space. Brother Dawood, I hope I have not exceeded my time yet. The last one.
No problem.
Great, thank you. So the last one is the organizations. As I said earlier, that we are going to be as transparent as possible. We will share, if anybody wants to know more about us, we will share whatever we can without any legal implications. But at the same time, if somebody wants to partner with us, join with us, or in any shape or form, I think it will be our strength to start working with other organizations. I was not aware until we started this initiative that there were about 100 different organizations across the country in different spaces they're working. Not exactly what we are working, but they're doing different things, and it'll be great for us to partner with them. So if you guys are aware of anybody who is working something similar and they can get some help from us, or we can help with them, that'll be awesome. So please feel free to reach out and let us know. And this initiative is being managed by no other than Brother Ilyas. I can tell you My hats off to him. Without his dedication, devotion, organizational skills, this would not have happened. So I will say, yes, I came up with the idea, but the converting my idea into reality is him, is the leader behind it, and then Brother Dawood and Hajar, Sister Hajar, and everybody else, Riaz Bhai and everybody else is as important than anything else. I'm really thankful to everybody for making this happen. It's a great day. That said, I'm going to hand it over to Brother Dawood, and thank you very much for your time.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Adnan, inshallah. All right, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's jump directly to the website. Alhamdulillah, we have our own website where members can register, and we can do a lot more. So I want to do a quick walkthrough. The website is www.thestartupcouncil.org. So just clicking on that. Oh, it's got open on the other page. I'm going to bring that up here. Okay, there you go. Okay, this is our website, alhamdulillah. So those who are interested to become an entrepreneur and wants to join us, feel free to join in. If anybody wants to submit an idea, you have an idea, you don't know where to start, okay, don't worry about it. Just go to this website, submit your idea here. And there are a bunch of questions you're going to answer, what are your requirements, what are you looking for, provide additional information, name, details, and inshallah we will reach out to you and we will try to help you as much as possible, inshallah. So then, going back, the entrepreneurs can join in here. The skill professional, if you want to join in here, please go ahead, become a member, join here. You want to give out your skills to share with the community and earn a little extra money, go ahead, join here and submit all your profile here. And also people get this question, can we be an entrepreneur, a business partner, and can we be a skill professional? Yes, if you can be in different verticals, yes, you can. You can be an investor, you can be a mentor, you can be a number. You can join in any other verticals altogether. So there is no limit, inshallah. We want help from the community. We want to give back to the community. As Brother Adnan said, he was thanking the team of ALMPG, Brother Ilyas, Riaz, and me. I would say, we are not doing it for anybody. We are doing just for the sake of Allah that, let's make this organization success so that we can create and develop some successful entrepreneurs. I want to really focus on here, if I can take a couple of minutes, if we read Surah Hadid, there is Allah saying that, believe in Allah and His Messenger and spend out of that in which He has made you successor. And for those who believed among you and spent, there will be great reward. How can we spend? How can we spend in the path of Allah when we are not making wealth? So creating wealth itself is not an issue in the Islam. In fact, Sahaba never used to hate wealth. They used to hate the fact that somebody is want to become wealthy without giving. So the whole concept, the whole idea in Islam about being an entrepreneur and contributing back to the community is pretty big. It's pretty big. I would say here, I want to quote one of the line which one of my favorite sheikhs said. He said, let's stop being moved by the qadr of Allah. Let's start being qadr of Allah. Please name me how many Muslim millionaires are there in the U.S. Okay, maybe you can name a bunch of them. Please name me how many Muslim billionaires you see in the U.S. How many? No. There is something wrong here. Either our community is only thinking about, going in the rat race. And don't take me wrong. We have a lot of engineers, doctors, and a lot of professionals. We have a lot. In fact, my wife herself, she's a doctor. So I'm not saying that is wrong. I am saying that we need to up our pace. We need to go back and think how we can contribute back to the society. From last 800 years, we do not have any significant contribution to the society, to our community, to the people with whom we are living. If we are living in the West, it is our duty to contribute back to the society. We are being the consumer. We have to get out of this mentality of being the consumer or, just working for somebody and being employed. We have to become employers, and we have to be the contributor rather than consumer. So, our whole religion talks about business. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he himself was a successful businessman. He was very ethical, and he made a lot of money from comparing with all the other businessmen who went to do business. And when he went to do business with Khadija radiallahu anha, he made a ton of money. He made a lot more profit than any other businessman. What does that teach us? We have to be honest, we have to be ethical, and we have to, we can make wealth. And as I said, the Sahaba didn't have the problem with wealth. They had the problem of not sharing the wealth with it. And I was going through a video and a study, and I found that, majority of the billionaires, they give back to the society in a lot, and they contribute back to the society. And this is interesting, out of the 64 major companion, or the main companion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 15 of them were major businessmen, like billionaires of their time. And, only 5 of them, 5 Sahaba out of 64, only worked for somebody else. That was because, they were either slaves of somebody, or they were captive, and they didn't have any means to start. But look at this. Out of 64, 5 were only working for somebody else. Rest of them, 59 main Sahaba, or the major Sahaba or companion of Prophet Muhammad, they were all businessmen. They were multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire of their time. And I'll give you one quick example of, one of the example I would give here is Zubair ibn, he is a Sahaba, Zubair ibn Awam. When he died, listen to this very carefully. When he died, he had 4 wives, and he left each of his wife $156 million today value. Each of his wife, $156 million. And that was when you could give people to your wife after your death. That is one of the 136th value of your wealth. So just 1/36 value of his wealth was $156 million. So just imagine how much he worked hard, how successful this businessman was. Being a businessman, being an entrepreneur, give you self-dignity, give you honor, give you that strength, and give you that time and wealth which you can spend in the way of Allah. Just imagine we have over 2,000 billionaires in the world currently, due to some of the stats says, and more than half of them, listen to this very carefully, had the story of rags to riches. Nobody was not all of them were, born with a silver spoon. Majority of them, more than half of them had a story of rags to riches, billionaire. This is present. If you say, okay, we cannot be a billionaire, we cannot be a millionaire, no, I would say you are lying to yourself. And if you see some of your brothers and sisters in the community who are growing, support them, help them. Don't have the mentality of jealousy. Let's come together. That's the whole concept of Startup Council. When I got this idea, when I heard this idea from Brother Adnan, when I was there in Seattle, I said, oh, this is pretty interesting. I wish I had somebody who can help me in such a way. So I said, rather than taking somebody else, let's give back to the community. Let's help. So I request all the volunteers here, this is a cause for developing not just the community, one single community. We are developing United States. We are helping and giving back to the community. Just imagine we can create jobs. We can create wealth, which we can help in creating organizations, helping people, helping the poor out. This is a whole ecosystem in itself. So I encourage once again all the brothers and sisters, to be a part of the Startup Council. And if you have ideas, come to us. Come to us, inshallah. We will help you succeed, inshallah. We have a solid team. Brother Adnan, Sister Hajira, Brother Ilyas. We have a lot more people coming and joining us. Brother Nader, so many people. I'm sorry, I'm not a person who remember all the names, but I'm telling you, come become a part of this, and we can help give back to the community. So once again, I want to reiterate this, let's stop being moved by the qadr of Allah. let's be the qadar of Allah in the United States, and let's help people solve some issues, some social problems. Why can't we be social entrepreneurs? I'll tell you my personal story and the personal story of ALMPG, right? If people here are not aware of ALMPG, when we started ALMPG, I mean, people were like, oh, it's not going to work out. They had a lot more job sites for Muslims some time back, and they failed utterly. But alhamdulillah, we launched this platform back in 2016. It's been 2+ years, and alhamdulillah, we have been successful. We have 7,000 plus members, and we have conducted a lot of webinars and thousands of jobs being posted, and we are helping a lot of other businesses. The main aim, as Brother Nader said, find your purpose. Our purpose was to give back to the community, help the community, guide the community, and alhamdulillah, we were successful at it. And alhamdulillah, Allah has put barakah into it. So I encourage everybody who joined in today, those who are leaders who have joined in today, to join hands with us and help us make this organization successful. It's a just to add this is a not-for-profit organization. We are all being volunteers here. We are spending 2-3 hours of our time on a week to give back to the community and help the community to grow. And if you want to contribute more time, that is between you and your your commitment. So come in, join hands, and inshallah, you can be a part of a great initiative, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, inshallah. Now I would go back to my slides, and inshallah I will continue to the final part of this session, which is taking some questions. So any brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, anything you guys want to ask to us, to the whole team of Startup Council, please let us know. I am going to put the session on Q&A mode. You can join this Q&A mode in a minute. Please join the queue, and I will open up and I'll let you speak, and you can ask your questions. And if you want to put your question in the chat box, feel free to do that as well. Okay, I have Brother Mahmoud. He wants to ask a question. Brother Mahmoud, I have unmuted you. Go ahead, ask your question. So, hold on. I have unmuted you. Go ahead, ask your question. Okay, there is an echo, Brother Mahmoud. If it's not a problem, just go ahead and type in your question in the chat box, inshallah. Okay, I'll take that question. And I have a question from brother or sister. The phone number is 9986, ending with. Brother or sister, go ahead, ask the question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Two quick things. I do have an idea and my question. I basically have two questions. First, I live in Seattle, Washington, and let's say if my idea is approved and you guys are willing to work on my idea, how we will manage, let's say you find some developer in Texas or in California or New York, but I'm in Washington. So my first question is that how we are going to collaborate on these geographical differences. My second thing is that do you guys, I just want to be clear that do you guys, I know that you mentioned you are doing it for Allah's sake, volunteer, but is there any fees, any cost, any profit sharing proposal that you guys have in case if the startup goes well? These are the two questions I have.
Okay, inshallah. Brother Adnan, you want to take those questions? I have unmuted you, Brother Adnan. Go ahead. You can
talk. Sorry. Yes, certainly. I'll take that. And brother, I'm sorry, I missed your name. But since you're in Seattle, it'll be great to visit with you sometime. I'm in Bellevue area, so if you happen to be in the area, it'll be great to have a cup of coffee or something with you. Geographical location. I think what we have built this whole organization. I am in Seattle, Brother Dawood is in California, Brother Elias is in Florida. So I don't think the physical presence is that important. But in certain cases, it'll be important to have resources nearby. So our objective in aligning the resources would be that they will be as close geographically located as possible. But in certain areas, if that's not an option, we should be able to work through that using the technology. The second part of your question is our financial relationship with the Startup Council. At this moment, we are being very diligent about it that we will have no financial transactions with the startup. We will not receive anything back from them. And we will provide them the support they need, so there is no hesitation that we are doing for any other reason but just to help them and the community. That said, I'm going to give you an example from my previous life that the RAS Foundation that I'm running right now, we started the RAS Foundation, the Teachers Training Program in Karachi, Pakistan, and we offered it for free. So it's a 60, 70, 80,000 rupees per session training. We were offering it for free. The attendance rate was about 50%. And I was very disappointed. And somebody pointed out that you should start charging. So what we did, we started charging 2,000 rupees for an 80,000 rupees training. And we said, these 2,000 rupees are here for now. And once you complete the course, pass the exam, we will return that money back to you. Guess what? Now the attendance rate is about 98%. So today I'm torn a little bit, and as an organization, we are not sure. We are going out with no financial return for us and no financial transactions, but down the road we will see. We may change a few things here and there.
Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, let's take another question from Brother Asif Hussain. I have unmuted you. You can talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Asif. I'm based in Dallas, Texas. First, I appreciate the alignment of everyone's intentions and the reason why we're coming together here. My question is along the process a little bit. How do we initially get engaged? It sounds like we fill out some forms on the website. But in order for us to do planning properly, I wanted to know if we had any SLAs or some kind of timeline around the process to evaluate a business idea and how quickly we can turn on, if an idea has been vetted, get resources engaged. So maybe a little bit about the process.
Brother Adnan, you want to take that question?
Sure. I think it's a great question. And every idea will take a little different amount of time. As I said, just very broad stroke, right? We are looking at the market need that you're defining. We will validate, is the market really there? How big is the market? What is the TAM? Is there a technology that bridges the gap? And is the gap is enough that's realistic and can be solved in a reasonable amount of time? And so I don't know if I can give you a timeline. We will try to be as quick about this as possible, from few weeks to maybe a month, or in certain ideas we may be able to turn around within a week or so, because the last couple of ideas that came to us, we were able to get back with them within a week. But I can see that certain ideas that we are, a couple of startups that I'm engaged with right now, it took us a long time to figure out what the market is, how big the market is, where is the sweet spot is, and how they should position themselves. It took us a while. So I don't know if there is a recipe, not today, but if we run this organization for about 5 years, then we will have the analytics and the AI behind it to be able to predict what the outcome is going to be.
Jazakallah khair. Does that answer your question, Brother Asif?
Yes, that helps. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair. You see, we are still learning. We are taking the baby steps, and we want to grow. And inshallah, if you can share any of, you want to help, you want to become a part, please feel free, inshallah. You can share your knowledge as well. Jazakallah khair. I'll take next question from Brother Mustafa. Okay. Go ahead, Brother Mustafa. You are on. Let me take some questions from the chat box. One of the brother here asking is the Startup Council only for tech companies? No, it is for everybody, every other company. I mean, you can be a tech company, you can be a traditional business. I was discussing this with Brother Adnan last night, and yes, you can be a traditional business as well if you want to start. Brother Asif, we answered your question. Brother Ilyas is taking care of some of the questions. How many startups council is looking to evaluate and work on, say, in a quarter? We don't have any facts and figures, Brother Ghaus. We just started, right? So inshallah, as we proceed, we will have some facts and figure, but inshallah, we are taking one step at a time, and we have a good team. Inshallah, we can divide the work up. You see, it's not like, you come with an idea and it's going to be boom. I'm not going to give you a hope that, it's going to be boom, a business. No. You have to do your due diligence. You have to do your background work. If you are an entrepreneur, by itself, you will have that urge of growing and getting there where you want, right? Our aim is to make it possible and ease the process of being an entrepreneur. We are not going to do your job of making you an entrepreneur. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you already have that idea, you already have that mentality, you already want to give back to the society, right? Now it's our job to how to make that process easy, right? Those are two different things. Like somebody comes to me and to the Startup Council, they say, okay, I have an idea, I want to be a billionaire. So, okay, where do you want to start first? Yes, okay, you need to start that first. You need to take that first step, and then inshallah we will try to help you out. Okay, and then, for example, I have an idea for something I would like to develop, and it is in an area in which I work professionally. However, I do not possesses the business knowledge or financial issues to start at. To develop the project or financially resourced, would the first step be to submit? Yes, your first step is to submit the idea, and inshallah we will evaluate your idea and we will try to help you out as much as possible. Okay, and then any other question? How Startup Council can help to introduce the startup? We didn't get your question. To get access to mainstream business in the U.S. Brother Adnan, you want to take that question? Brother Naseem has a question.
Yeah, I see the question. I'm not quite sure, but I think I'm going to take a stab at it. What we're going to do is, normally what you do is you identify your market. You come up with a marketing plan, followed up with the sales force. And marketing plan generates the market. Once you generate the market, then you go with the sales force and try to close the deals. This should be evaluated earlier on in the program, when you come up with the idea during the evaluation process, to identify who your market is, who those customers are, what is their profile, how you're going to reach them. So all that work has to be done up front. I know I'm kind of talking at a high level. This can be converted into technical with the experts in the marketing area and the sales area, how to take that into the action items that can be done, and it's being done regularly. I don't see that as a big challenge.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, so yes, I think I am understanding his question a little bit. He wants to get access to mainstream businesses in the U.S. Yes, of course, you have to do your own marketing. You have to create a marketing strategy for your business, target down your customers, customer audience who you want to target, right? And then you create a plan accordingly. Okay, we can help you, inshallah. We have brothers who have experience, and we can, inshallah, guide you on how to creating and getting to the business target. And one other brother has a very quick question. Brother Mustafa, how are our ideas secured, whether we start it up or not? Well, whenever you share your idea, make sure that you have in mind, you have a piece of paper called NDA, non-disclosure agreement, with whoever you speak your idea with. Make sure you ask them to sign the NDA, inshallah. We at Startup Council, we are also planning to do something similar. If anybody comes with an idea, they need to sign an NDA for their own security, and so that they don't blame anybody in the team on Startup Council. That's what we have. That's the understanding we have. And Brother Hasib is asking, when there are two or more ideas, how to identify the best? It's a general question. Well, yes.
This is Adnan. I think I want to take a little bit time about the NDA. I think that's a sensitive issue. And
sure.
As a council, it's very important for us to respect the NDA. Certain communities, certain areas. I lived in China for a while, and I understand the lack of respect for NDA. And this is a key factor for us. I will be very, very strict about this thing, and I think it's for the right reasons. Our whole organization is going to hinge on this, that we respect the NDAs, and there should never ever be any accusation that we did not respect the NDA, because I think it's very, personally it's very important, and for the success of this organization, this is an important factor. So we will make sure that the idea you submit will be under NDA if you desire so to have that, and then we will share within our group with limited people and expand that on a very need-to-know basis strictly until you get to the point that you are ready to go from the stealth mode to public mode. I think it's very, very critical, and I have emphasized that in our group, and we will keep doing that and remind ourselves that the importance of NDA.
Then I'll take next question from Brother Hasib. He's asking when there are two or more ideas, how to identify the best. I think you need to ask this question to yourself. Which idea you think you are more comfortable with, and where you think you can contribute your 100%. There can be hundreds of ideas, but ideas themselves are just ideas. If you really want to work on any idea, just pick that idea, give your 100%, and you can be successful at it, right? When I was in school, I had hundreds of ideas, but did I make them into reality? Some of them not. So it's just how we are concerned and how we want to work on it, right? So it just, you have that gut feeling, right, that okay, this is an idea where I think it fits who I am, like my personality, and this is where I think I can give my 100%, and inshallah this will be successful. But still, talking technically, inshallah, you can put down a SWOT analysis, which I used to do when I had an idea, when I had any decision to be made. I used to do a SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats, and I used to finalize an idea. So you can do that. Brother Adnan, you want to give any of your feedback on that, how to finalize an idea?
Yeah, I think it's going to be almost, we will have the same challenge. We will have, 30, 40, 50 projects come to us, and we will have to pick few that we can support. We would like to support all the ideas, but the reality is going to be we will only be able to support a few. And for us, for me, this is going to be, the bigger the opportunity, how big of an impact you are getting ready to make on the society, number one. How big of a risk we have technologically. The minimum the gap is, the better off we will be. The third one is how strong the team is. All of these factors will play in making the decision. I think for me, the criteria would be the bigger the impact and the chances of success is higher. Those are the two key factors that will play in my decision-making process.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, and Brother Rana Ghazavi, he's asking a question, just went on the website and to look at the submit button and submitted an idea. Okay, but how detailed would you, as detailed as possible, inshallah. Just make sure you don't cross that business USP and kind of not share sensitive information. Just an idea of your business will do, and inshallah then we can take it further from there when we receive your idea. Brother Altaf is asking how is the success rate. See, Brother Altaf, we are just starting, right? We haven't done or conducted any businesses yet. So once we start growing, as Brother Adnan said, we will in next 2 years or 1 year, we will have the stats, how successful we were, how many business did we help, and how successful they were, right? So yes, NDA looks good. I am looking at the page. Where can I submit the idea? Where do I submit NDA? Well, you submit the idea, and when we share with your share the idea and do a consultation with you, we can do the NDA then. Okay, Brother Rana. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Okay, no more questions, inshallah. And I want to show you guys this. not this, but alhamdulillah, we are currently working with 2 projects. If anybody wants to ask any question, please email us at startup@almpg.com or give us a phone call. Take a screenshot of this, and inshallah, you can keep it with you, and you can reach out to us. And the website, you all know, the startupcouncil.org. It's thestartupcouncil.org. And finally, on the next page, I have some testimonials. We are helping 2 businesses out with whatever help we can provide them. And one is the onestophalal.com. This is founder, Brother Imran Sheikh. He has this testimonial about the Startup Council. And we have Brother Ivan and Brother Muhammad, who are founders of Muawa. It's kind of a website for students. So we have a testimonial there. Once you're all done with this testimonial from One Stop Halal, I can show up this one. I can just click on this, and they have a pretty good job, talking about how helpful Startup Council can be for startups. So they want to share their experience with us. So this is what they're gonna they have to share.
And I'm lucky to have Startup Council support for my project. As the startup world is not easy to grasp when you're new to it, having help and guidance from the Startup Council greatly helped my partner and me identify potential problems and work on preparing our project from both technical and legal side. They helped us with providing resources and knowledge, as well as connecting us with potential team members and other partners. With their guidance, we're quickly transforming the basic idea into a mature company, with our products shaping up to become more than just a dream.
So you see, we are already working with people, and alhamdulillah, they find it very helpful for themselves and their business about what help they are getting from Startup Council. So let's join hands together and help people out. See, there are 2 ways to it. Don't just think that you're going to volunteer all your time. There are 2 ways to help, right? You can help. You can join in as an investors, and if we have any good investment opportunities, we can send you over and we can talk to you about investment opportunities, right? There you can invest. In the same way, if you are an investor and you want to help somebody, give some knowledge or help lead the investor vertical, you can become a part of it. That's volunteering. And making business and making money, that is completely different. So there are 2 aspects to it. Okay, so you guys are not signing up on the website just to become a volunteer. You are signing up on the website, so when an idea comes in, if you are a skilled professional and that idea needs some web development, you can put in your share and you can sell your services, right? That is the idea about it. Because I see my team said, there is a confusion that people are asking that is it all just voluntary work? No, it's not going to be voluntary work, all of them. But there are 2 parts to it. If you want to volunteer, yes, feel free, join the organization, and you can volunteer and help entrepreneurs fulfill their dreams. And on the second hand, if you are a skilled professional, a mentor who wants to give back to the community, yes, you can do that. If you are an investor or you want to become a business partner and there is a business idea you want to join, yes, you can do so. So those are 2 different things. So, khair, inshallah, if you have any other questions, feel free to email us or give us a call back. So this is your brother Dawood Ahmed. Inshallah, I want to end with a dua. Jazakumullah khair, everybody, for joining in. Jazakumullah khair for all the team members who have joined in today and contributed to this webinar. And inshallah, I will end with this dua. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والأسر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خير, everybody, once again for joining in. This is your brother Dawood Ahmed with whole team of Startup Council. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Feel free to check out the website and do register, and let's make things possible, inshallah. Let's work together. We have our differences. Let's put our differences aside and let's work together. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.